We are now on to part 2 of bashing third-party audits will not fix the food industry, but I know what will. And this part is internal audits. Now, I've been gone for a while. I apologize. I started this project. In fact, one of my employees was joking. He's like, Matt, you must have been super frustrated to start this project a week before you go on a family trip. I don't want to say a family vacation because I have 7 children, and you never have a vacation with children. It's a trip. But that's why I've been gone for this length of time. And so now I'm starting back up the series. And again, the series is bashing third-party audits will not fix the food industry, but I know what will. Go to part 1 to kind of see the genesis. That's the genesis of this topic, where basically I'm talking about how people are bashing the food safety third-party industry, kind of like that we're the issue and we're creating the problems, and it's ridiculous. So last article was why your clients won't accept an internal audit instead of a third-party audit. And it's not just clients, because it's also the court of law. It's also a lot of different places throughout the world are going to look at an internal audit very, very, very differently than they are going to be looking at a third-party audit, okay? And so how do we go from internal audit to third party? And what does third party even mean? So in this, I want to kind of describe the differences between internal audits in terms of a first party audit. And so this equals first party, which is a self audit. Use more of the board here. Self audit. And then a second party audit, which is like auditing suppliers. And if you're a large company with multiple facilities throughout the world or whatever, or even in the United States, it's also auditing internally, internal intercompany. All right? Now, why this would be an internal intercompany audit would be different than a first-party self-audit is because with this, it would be, the results would have a direct impact on my operating, okay? So if I'm the owner, pack house manager, if I am the food safety person for this facility, then the results of that self-audit are going to have a direct relation to my ability or my changes or my operating culture, okay? This is directly me. This is a second-party internal audit, even if the company is mine, okay? It generally is done by a food safety or quality person that does not work in that facility, right? It would be like a corporate food safety or quality person that goes out and checks the quality and food safety of the different facilities or farms. And so I am not employed directly by this facility. I'm employed by the corporation to make sure that my organizations internally are doing a good job, okay? And a third party is done by an outside organization that has no affiliation whatsoever within the organization. And so that is very different. All right, so why don't retailers, food service companies, or anybody in the world accept a self-audit, a first party, or a second party audit instead of a third party audit? And it comes down to conflict of interest. So I, if I'm doing a self-audit, have control over the ultimate results and culture of that organization. So if I look really bad in my own audit, I'm probably not going to be showing those results, right? And so a lot of times when we see it, we see companies giving themselves like 99%, 95% plus, And then our auditors will go in, check out their internal audit, and then say, you know what, actually the real results are 85%, okay, or less, particularly the first year. Okay, so with that, why do I say particularly the first year? Because it might not be the company or the person trying to hide things. It could just be ignorance. It's new to them. They don't know this audit. They don't know this particular GFSI audit or those checklists, and so they're answering questions that they believe that they have what is needed to be done, but in all actuality they don't, or they have less of what is really expected. And so there's variations in this. Okay, with the conflict of interest of an internal second party internal audit, the conflict of interest could be because I want that supplier. I need that supply. My shelves are not going to be filled. My restaurant orders are not going to be made if I don't have this supplier. So I might perform an internal inspection on them and then say to them, oh, you know what, you're missing this, but I know you'll be able to get it done tomorrow. So I'm going to give you that question. I'm just going to give it to you because you're okay. I know you're going to be able to fix it. All right. And so what was actually seen that day could be very different than what the actual checklist saw. Okay, that's a potential conflict of interest because I would need that supplier. Another conflict of interest, particularly intercompany, is what if this guy, facility manager, has a lot of influence corporately with my job. Okay, so he complains that I ripped him apart, and while he should have been ripped apart, he didn't do his job right in compliance wise. This facility manager might be able to call my boss or my boss's boss or my boss's boss's boss, and then I would get docked or get in trouble or whatever, and that would alter then from then on my judgment as an internal auditor on how I'm supposed to audit people. And so it has happened a lot in the past that cultures have been created that have been very negative because food safety people just get beat up by other companies. They do. And I saw that one time. I'm not going to explain the company, but we built a program for a company, a data management program, where we did put all their internal audits on, it was like a handheld device. This was, 12 years ago. This was before anything was easy. And this company was really big, and they were afraid that the QC managers and the food safety people corporately were getting beat up by their facilities. They had like 50 facilities by the facility managers. And so what we did was a test, and we had some of these food safety people go and do an inspection and an audit on that facility, and then that guy left. And then their boss, who was the VP of the company, came and did an identical audit that same day after that guy left. And the food safety guy did not know that this was happening. And the results were drastically different between the food safety guy who thought he didn't have any power and was really afraid of the manager, and the guy who had all the power in the corporation as a food safety guy, the VP, came in and was like, this is ridiculous. And it was just because it had been years of these guys just getting beat up by facility managers. And I'm not saying it happens everywhere. I'm saying that is a potential, and it is reason why it's a potential conflict of interest. And that's why majorly these companies just don't accept these internal audits. And so there's third-party audits, and this is done by certification bodies or CBs. Right? And right now, the globally accepted third-party audit is GFSI. Stands for Global Food Safety Initiative. And actually, we'll do another article on just what GFSI is and how that worked, because I get a lot of people asking questions about that. So I think it's a huge disservice to corporations that are trying to figure out what to do for compliance, for people to say to people, just do an internal audit and you'll be fine. Because what will happen is, if you do, and you happen to have that product that very few people have, and so you're just going to skate along with just doing an internal audit, either a self-audit or an audit by a supplier, by a client, then at some point in time, your competition is going to have this third-party audit, and they're going to get your business. Because this is a globally accepted means of compliance, and this is not. Internal audits are not. And so while you've been able to do it for a while, if you have been able to, in the future you won't, because somebody else is going to come along with the same product that's going to say, hey, you know what? If I do this, I will be globally accepted because everybody will know that I have these compliance. Okay? The other thing is people complain, and I was reading this, one of the articles that brought me to this. People complain about audit fatigue, okay? Too many audits, right? Too many of them. And I agree, there are just so many audits. But they're not third-party audits. They're internal audits. They're your clients coming to audit you. The audit fatigue is not having to do too many SQF, BRC, Primus, GFS audits. Very rarely do I have a client that does more than one a GFSI audit. Okay? Where the audit fatigue is, and you just understand the difference, is your clients coming and auditing you. And that audit is generally, it might have some reference to questions that are going to be in the GFSI checklist that you choose. But they're also quality stuff, they're sales stuff, a dog and pony show, walking around the facility, look at the different products you have, seeing if there's something else, blah, blah, blah. So that auditor is coming, yes, to check your food safety and make sure you're in compliance with their expectations. And they're supposed to. Generally, corporate-wide, they're supposed to, but also federal expectations or whatever. It's, tort. Their legal team tells them they need to go audit them, audit your suppliers. All these different reasons for auditing your suppliers, and it's good. You should audit your suppliers, right? Even if you're the one getting 12 audits, you have suppliers underneath you that you need to audit as well. You should be doing internal audits on all your suppliers. All right? And that's where the audit fatigue comes from. But you need to realize it's not third-party audit fatigue. It's just you're successful. If you're receiving 12, 15, 20, I have a client who has 34, he told me last time I talked to him, 34 different companies coming in to look at him. And he was complaining. He said to me, this is ridiculous. Every week, other than vacations and holidays, that type of stuff, every week I have someone in my facility looking at this. This is audit fatigue, Matt. This is ridiculous. What are you going to do about it? I said, nothing. You're successful. You have 34 clients coming to audit you. But not only to audit you, but to talk with their sales team, to talk with, to look at all the different products you have. Maybe they want to offer more. So you need to look at your job when they do those internal audits as not only the food safety guy, but also as a marketing guy. Show them all the great things that you do. Show them everybody else who comes who wants your product, and then pass them on to the sales team to do what they're supposed to do. But ultimately, the third-party audit, that is what you need to be compliant within the industry for everybody across the world. It is your bare minimum, okay? And we'll explain next time about some of the issues with third-party audits, including some different conflict of interest, because there are some perceived conflicts of interest, and also how we as third-party auditing companies fix those. Okay, so again, my name is Matt Rigucci. I am CEO of Train to Comply and co-founder of WQS, which is a certification body. And thank you for watching this, and we'll be talking about third-party audits next.